Howlers.
Welcome, everybody, to Fade to Obsidian, your Red Rising podcast of spaceships and relationships and death. So much death. I am Skipper, joined as always by Crescent, and joined this week by Cullen of Sons of Ares, also known as Harpoon. Welcome in. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
joining us.
guys. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited to talk. Well, not excited. I'm heartbroken to go over the death of one of the great characters in my life, and
Yeah.
I'm excited to dive into it with you guys because, like I was just saying, I've been a big fan for a long time. I've actually was listening to Fade like 2 years ago,
Oh
before,
shit!
like long before. It was actually the first Red Rising show that I found. And
Wow.
um, and then you were our first guest on the show, and you
Yeah.
were kind and very, very, very nice and thoughtful, and aim enough to join a couple of guys who just started a podcast. So we really appreciate you doing that. So it's
No,
kind
it
of
was a lot
cool
of
to
fun.
be on the show with you guys right now.
Now you're here. Yeah,
Wow.
it's amazing. Well, it's we always, I don't know, try and make the fandom the best it is. Everyone in our fandom is so good. Of like when we started out, we had Howler Pod and Hail Reaper like immediately jumping in to talk to us. So when you guys join the scene, and it's like, come on, join the
And I don't want to leave
family.
them out. They were the same. They were super nice,
You're so
super
great.
helpful, awesome to be around and to talk about. But I think kind of what's unique in this, I've never been a part of a fandom other than, like, a Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
But as we've gotten further into this realm, everybody's super fucking nice
Yeah.
and helpful and willing, like game. When we did the newscast, like, you guys participated without even a question of who are these people and why are they bothering us. It was just
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, sure, we can do that. And that's kind of cool. You read about other fandoms and it seems like they can get kind of wonky at times, and
Yeah.
doesn't seem like that's really what's going on here. So
Yeah.
really fun to be a part of it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for joining us. Before so that we can do full spoilers moving forward. So everybody knows we are discussing a death in Golden Sun. I will say it in about 5 seconds. So if you haven't finished Golden Sun, stop now. It's Lorn we're discussing, and we will be discussing him until the end of Lightbringers. So, if you haven't finished Lightbringer, jump off and then come visit us after. Go, if you haven't finished Lightbringer, you guys are doing your read through right now. Tag up with yours on Sons of Ares, not of Lightbringer, but of the series, you know.
We'll be on
Have people join
Lightbringer
you
in
theirs.
2033 by the time
Yeah,
we get around to it.
which is amazing. I love how thorough you're being. But yeah, people can tag
Yeah.
up with yours and then come back to us after. Now that we have full, you know, we can say whatever we want. Let's jump in though of who are you other than being Sons of Ares podcast hosts? Why are you Harpoon? And also, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, I can answer the Harpoon thing very briefly. That was the Hail Reaper. So this is what I don't understand about Discord, and this is, I'm showing my age here. It's very confusing when you just all of a sudden find
Mm-hmm.
yourself in a Discord thing, and then there's multiple, like, I guess, chats, but I don't know. It's very confusing. Anyhow, on the Hail Reaper side, there's somebody over there. I forget their name or their ag or whatever. But they're very kind, and they anytime somebody joins there, they give them a name, and or a call sign. And so Chuck, my co-host, and I joined and got call signs, and mine ended up being Harpoon because my favorite movie is Jaws, and I live on the coast of Maine, so it seemed
Nice.
appropriate.
That
I've
Yeah.
is
never
perfect.
harpooned anything. I don't own a harpoon. I'm pretty sure I would immediately throw up if I accidentally harpooned
Oh
something,
no.
um, because I'm not great with blood. But um, so that's where that comes from. I am drinking a little bit of Lagavulin in my Book and Box Co. Sons of Ares
Nice.
tumbler, which is pretty cool. Although I'm a little sad because Preston over there has the Glencairn glass that he's
Yes.
drinking his out of, like a real whiskey drinker. But yeah, that's what I've got loaded up tonight.
Nice.
I'm
I
trying
like
to
it.
get lit escalates to make Glencairns.
Dude,
Yeah.
I would buy all of them. I love
Hmm.
that idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah, you could
And
do with
our
all the
guy
different
Lorne,
logos. Yeah, I
I
was gonna
think
say you could have all
Yeah.
the houses on the and
totally
collect them all. I
would
like
be
this.
a no-brainer. And Lorne is only drinking his Lagavulin out of a Glencairn. It's the best. It's designed
Hmm.
specifically for Scotch. It's the best glass you can possibly use, outside of a book and box coat, Sons of Aries. It's a Tumbler.
Nice. I like it. Crescent, I
Very
assume you
true.
have Lagavulin.
I do not. Last time I had Lagavulin on the show, I finished it. So
Okay.
I wasn't gonna go spend $180 or whatever it is on a bottle. So I got the next closest thing. I got
Lefroy.
Lefroy.
Which one? The cask strength or the
I've got cask strength 10 year. Yeah.
perfect? I gotta admit, I was just in Scotland for ten days, and
Oh, lucky.
I had a moment where I was in Lorn drinking Lagavulin. The area around Oban is called Lorn, and it was and I'm
Oh.
to the point where I'm such a nerd. I was in my Arcos T-shirt with the griffin on it
Amazing.
and the whole thing. It was very cool for a brief moment, and then I realized I was telling my wife how excited I was about the universe lining up so appropriately, and then I felt really, really fucking nerdy for a minute or two.
No, own it.
You just
You
gotta
gotta
lean
own that
into it.
shit.
I did. I finished. I did it the way I had to, but there was a moment of I saw myself. I understood
Yeah,
what I was saying.
I like it. I also ran out of Lagavulin, so I have Highland Park. That was my
Ooh,
closest
hey,
one. It's between that or Writer's Tears because I always like doing that one for whenever we do sad.
I've never had writer's tears.
It's good. It's good. It's more of an
Is it
Irish whiskey.
peaty?
It's Irish
Irish
whiskey
white.
with
Okay.
Scotch.
Okay. I
Yeah.
was going to say, I've never had it, but I will have to put it on my list.
It's
Question, how
so
big is
good.
your whiskey collection now?
Uh,
He's
it's
counting.
4 shelves. It's like 60 bottles.
And
Of
you do at some point, can we get an extra fade episode where you just do a shot out of each and explain, give us tasting notes and a little
and
bit of
just
history?
get
And just
absolutely fucking
die.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
annihilated.
why not?
Yeah.
We're in the
We could.
content game. Just go for it. It'll be fun. It'll
Hmm.
do numbers on TikTok. I promise
Have to
you.
have to start doing shorts,
Yeah,
whiskey
exactly.
review shorts.
I was gonna say you could do like a few at a time. You don't have to do all 60 at once, but you could, we could.
I don't know. Howlers
Like,
go all in, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
in for a
Might
penny, in for a pound.
Hmm.
come up and visit him. I'll meet you there in Saskatoon, and we'll go through his
I love it.
talk.
I love it.
I'm
Yep,
inviting you to his house.
All
That's
right, I
what's
like that.
happening
That's
that's
very
fair.
clever.
yeah, I like it.
Well, at the next Howler Con, if there ever is one, we should do a round robin, like a blind tasting.
Oh
Ooh,
yes,
Just
yeah,
do like a whiskey corner. Uh,
absolutely. I'm
it
here
would
for that.
yeah.
be it would quickly become just a bunch of blackouts screaming about how much they love Lorne or Tactus or whoever. But it would be fun.
Yeah, I'm in.
Absolutely, it would.
Done. Someone write this
Yeah,
down
the
so we
Howlers found
remember it.
the Howlers. The Howlers always find the whiskey bar.
It's
We
true.
found it in Tulsa for Howler Con.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I can only
Belfries.
imagine a bunch of classy guys trying to down their Lagavulin in peace, drown away their sorrows, and all, random just deviants walking in, howling at the moon, screaming about Tickler and whatnot.
Yeah, I know. We add to the atmosphere is what it is. Yeah,
It's a parade of humanity. So,
exactly. I
Exactly.
love it. Well, shall we jump into our favorite whiskey drinker, dear Lorn? You jumped on coming on for this episode. I think I put it out to you of like, we're gonna do some deaths. What would you? And you were like, I'm here.
I was a little quick on the trigger there. That's for sure. He's an important guy. He means something
Yeah.
to me.
Well, what does he mean to you? Explain your love of Lorn.
I just, I kind of got into reading and history because of my grandfather. So automatically, that kind of like older mentor, I've always gravitated towards that character archetype.
Yeah.
Um, and and then he's he's not on the page for a whole hell of a lot. He's packs a lot of punch in to essentially what boils down to one chapter, and if you pasted everything else he's in, maybe another full chapter.
Yeah.
But when he is on the page, it informs a lot about Darrow. If you fully understand Lorn, I think you get a way better understanding of Darrow, not just in the first series, but particularly as he's getting through Iron Gold and Dark Age. If you keep in the back of your mind who his mentor is or was, and what his great fear, the death begets death. And over, he's reminding himself of the bill comes at the end. All these little, what seem like kind of not pithy sayings, but dime store truths or bumper stickers, but they're not. And it doesn't really come until Dark Age, I think, that the weight and the reality and the truth of those sayings come home to Darrow and really roost. Um, so that from the Darrow understanding perspective, he means a lot. But for me, I also am a big Churchill guy. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to Churchill, and so anybody that can balance wisdom and wit,
Yep.
and Arcos seems to have a lot of both. And he also has that. There's a Churchillian thing where he sounds like he knows everything, and he acts like he knows everything, but then pulls back the shade a little bit or the blind, and you get a moment of truth where he's like, I don't actually know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And there's some of that to Lorne, which I really like. It's a humanizing thing. He's not
Yeah.
he's not a monolith or a living myth, or at least that's my take on him.
No, that is
What do
great.
you
I
guys?
love that comparison to Churchill. I've never thought about it, but it makes perfect sense. And especially all the quotes we have from Churchill that are just thrown out there of, we'll fight him on the beaches. And people are like, what's happening? Right? Like, and you just,
Totally,
and
totally. And
that's what
there's like
happens with Lawrence.
there's even kind of like the anachronisms and the misattributions which happen all the time where people claim that Churchill said this, but there's no actual
Yeah.
citation of him saying it. It's just come into our almost like a Mandela effect where we just have heard it for so long that he said that now it
Yeah.
doesn't really matter if he did or he didn't.
Yeah.
We just think he did. And it's kind of the same with Lorne, where I think in the world of Red Rising, so much has just been kind of thrown out as a Arcos or a Stoneside quote
Yeah.
that it doesn't matter if he said it. If you think he did, then that's that's the meaning. Um, and I think that's interesting. That's a weird little there's a thing that Pierce Brown does that I think is interesting where he's able to populate the world or make the world feel real, give it actual depth and reality and grip to it by kind of doing simple little things like that you wouldn't normally think of as a way to world build, but it actually gives it a lot more weight, a lot more grounding.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's clever.
Absolutely. Yeah. Lauren's almost the first, I don't know, you want to call him like a celebrity that we hear of or know, that he is just this person that everybody knows of, and right, like everything comes around, and that's, you're right, he's ingrained in their society at this point, of everything kind of works, that myth around him, which is really cool. Even
Mm,
in the
mhm.
first, so we'll get fully to the numbers later, but I did have Crescent pull the numbers. But in Red Rising,
Oh,
like, you
cool.
don't
Very cool.
meet Lorne really, but he's mentioned 4 times. Like, and that's just the word name Lorne. We didn't look up Stoneside or Arcos or any of those. Just Lorne is 4 times already in Red Rising, and we don't like. I guess he's in the room, but not really, right? Like,
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
that.
he's not actually interacting.
No,
yeah.
and I don't even really think he has. I mean, maybe he has a line in during the selection or at the end,
Hmm.
but I don't even think he has an actual like line in there. Um, that's that trick there of you've done a lot of the groundwork of making him this massive titan without actually having to do a fucking thing to explain it,
Yeah.
or it's just in there and you have, as a reader, you just accept, oh, this character must be quite a figure in this realm. If we're not even getting any page time with him, and yet he's been referred to multiple times here in the first book.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't think of that, but 4 times in the first book without meeting him really is
Yeah.
bold.
Absolutely. Well, and
From
then
a
again
writer's
in
perspective, it's bold.
very bold. And then even in Golden Sun, we don't know the first time you read through that Darrow's been working alongside, and he's name dropped constantly of like, oh, he doesn't work with anyone. Where has he been? Like all of this. And that building of the myth again before the gala. It's just when it drops of like, oh, just kidding. I have been working with
That's where he's
Lorn.
been.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So then by the time you get to that build up has been like, I don't know, it's foreshadowing in a way of like, well, we needed to know why this was building up, but it makes total sense then when the shoe drops of like, okay, right? Like we know who this is, or at least the myth around it, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
And the myth is immaterial,
Mm-hmm.
because it's all that. Or I'm sorry, it's not immaterial. The myth is everything. That's
Yeah.
really
Mhm.
all that matters at this point. And one thing that again kind of builds it up without really even telling you anything, or it tells you everything but it doesn't really explain it, is at the gala when he reveals that he's been with Arcos, the way that the room responds to that information, Cassius's reaction to that. You don't even know what Arcos has taught Darrow. You don't
Yeah.
know what really the Willow Way is or the meaning of that, and yet the immediate response as a reader is, "Oh, holy shit, he's just leveled up. This is a force
Mhm.
multiplier for sure." Somehow
Yeah,
you
we
intuit.
just hit the anime power up.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
But as a reader, we don't have the information of how or what that means.
Mhm.
You just know it, and that's how much weight that name has kind of brought along in the short period that it's been introduced to us.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, and the Willow Way, like, I don't know. It's funny because you don't see the razors being used in the first book. So then when you see the importance of it in Golden
Mm.
Sun and like, oh, this was life or death for Darrow, like that alone as well is really cool. Of, as you say, we've already been immersed to watch for it in a way, in a way. Like that's really
Mhm.
cool.
Totally.
Yep. Kristen, any thoughts?
You do get a tiny look at razors in
Yeah.
the Siege of Olympus.
Oh, that's true.
Mhm.
Oh yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, Proctor Mercury is a poet with the razor.
Mm.
Proctor Apollo gets his legs slashed by Severo with his own razor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's definitely it's hinted at and it's used, but I think Skipper, your larger point there is true in the sense that like it's just a tool up till that point,
Mm-hmm.
like it's a sword.
Mhm.
We don't realize that there's, or at least I didn't realize until the gala really. Not only is it a tool, and then we learn later in I think uh, in Golden Sun, not only is it a tool, but it's a symbol beyond what it becomes for Darrow, the sling blade, but the razor itself is kind of like the armored horse during medieval period, where
Yeah.
you have to be wealthy beyond anybody else's dreams to actually not just train and have one of these things, but to house it, to financially afford razor, and obviously the golds are able to do that, but they don't let anybody else use it. I mean, it's a death sentence for, I believe, an obsidian to touch these things. I would assume that goes for everybody. I can't imagine. I think that's why the Greys are firearms specialists, is they're not trained with a razor. So it's a weapon of the elite. It's a weapon of the upper class, or the golds in this case. And so we don't really know, or at least I don't remember learning any of that up until like later in Golden Sun. But it starts to come around the gala that, oh, this is more than just a blade. This is more than just a sword. And Arcos is kind of the master of it, which automatically gives him that top tier status.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they kind of hint at how, or I guess Pierce kind of hints at how important the razor is to society before the gala. Like, kind of just through that beginning of Golden Sun, where Darrow is being made fun of because he doesn't know how to use a razor.
Right.
That's a great call out. That's exactly, and again, that's one of those. It's grounded in reality, because that's the kind of thing you can totally imagine. Some squire, landless squire, getting pissed on because he can't afford a Chevalier horse or Destrier, and it's just it's clever. It's smart. I think it's a very again, it just makes you understand so much without actually reading it on the page.
Absolutely.
Show, don't tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and it also gives, through Lorn, us more insight into Aja. That you start to learn more of, like, this is like Lorn's other student is Aja, and why she's this deadly killer. And we meet her again before we meet Lorn. She's killed Quinn by the time we meet Lorn, and it's because, well, she is Lorn's student. And so that, again, that myth, everything is built up, that we just know to be scared of Aja because she has been trained by Lorn.
And to your point, I mean, not just trained, but he specifically says, don't fight her.
Yeah.
Like, he says, basically he's saying, like, I wouldn't fight her. I trained
Yeah,
her.
yeah, you can't handle that.
Exactly. And you can tell from that saying, like, he's not sure if he could handle that.
Oh, absolutely.
And when you the last episode, I think you guys covered Quinn, or at least the last one.
Yeah, that's been released. Yeah.
That's aired, yeah.
And the thing that stuck with me, and that was, you guys were covering kind of the brutality, the visceral, like, she could have killed her with a razor. She chose to use her hands, or at least a fist. And what does that say about her teacher? Now, does it say anything about him? I don't know, but I mean, the fact that she's so capable, so violent, so savage, and that is probably innate, but then also that's probably what made her an appealing student, because even at the point where he took Aja on, it wasn't like he ran a school for wayward children and made them into razor masters. He was selecting very few people that he would bring in and teach. He chose her. I don't know if he chose her out of um, was it his choice, or was he told by the sovereign, like, you need to train this person? I don't know, but um, and I don't know if it matters, but I think it is interesting that he's the one who says, "Don't fight Aja." Like, and he doesn't even have a clue of, or a hint. You'd think, in baseball, if your old hitting hitting coach worked for another team, he might be able to tell you something about the pitcher and be like, hey, his curveball dropped right in, just sit back on it, wait for it, and do what you will with it. But he doesn't even have anything like that for Dara. He just says, don't fight her.
Yeah.
That's got to be fucking scary.
Yeah. Cool. And I mean, we, I guess, learned later that Lorn isn't her only teacher. And that I think is probably why she is as terrifying as she is. She's got the mind's eye. So she's got the will away, and then she's got another
Mm,
bullshit power up stacked on top of it.
mm. That's a great point that I had not put together until you just said it. Because once Aja dies, she's just kind of. We don't learn about the mind's eye until later, and so it never really
Mhm.
filtered into my mindset of like, oh, that's why she's so like formidable. But yeah, you're right. She's basically juiced. She's on
Mhm.
steroids.
Yeah, Darrow talks about how she fights like she knows what's
Mm,
happening,
hmm.
like
Yeah.
in advance.
Oh, is there any? Do you guys have any insight on whether or not the mind's eye was already a thing when he was writing the first series, or because
That would be
if
a great
I
not,
I
question.
I think it has to be.
it has to be. You're right. It has to
Yeah.
be at least some kind of idea backstory that maybe never was
Yeah.
going to be a thing, but just made her. Because you're so right. Now that I'm thinking about that last scene, that last fight scene, and then it adds, yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know. We're making it headcanon right now, but I think that you very well might be hitting on to something there.
It's a question for Pierce.
Yeah.
I will write it down. I write down all
Add
of
it to
them.
our 87-page
I
list
know.
of questions for Pierce.
There's so many.
Right beside Pierce, is that a reference?
He loves when we find his references. We're just going to accuse everything of being a reference. Yeah. But yeah, that's a great call out that I never even thought of. Yeah, it makes total sense of Aja
Completely.
clearly does have it, but then did Pierce know at the time? There we go. It's written down. I like it.
Post-it note, actioned.
Posted note, actioned. I always have to do now everything, or else I used to just write down posted notes and nothing would come of them. And I'd be sitting there later being like, why did I write this in the middle of last week's episode? What
Writing
was
post-it
this?
notes to remind you about the post-it
Post-it
notes.
notes. Yes, that is my life. Yeah. I like it. Well, we've talked a lot about his myth, but getting into when we actually meet Lorn, I always find is a really cool scene. When he's hanging out on his estate. Do you guys remember the first time or the feelings of meeting Lorn? Any expectations? And if not, that's fine. I know it could be a couple years from the first time.
Preston, any
I was on such a wild ride through those books. I don't have like though that like distinct I remember this exact thing happening. I just have vibes of vroom.
yeah. Oh, well, I mean, it definitely is like from there on, we just covered this maybe a month ago, but from basically that chapter on, it's jet fuel on a campfire. It's like nonstop. So everything just kind of comes hot and heavy, but I remember very distinctly, uh, I don't know, have you guys seen the movie or read the short story, The Man Who Would Be King?
I've read it,
It's a
yeah.
short story's great. Movie is phenomenal. It's a John Huston, 1978, 77. Sean Connery, Michael Caine. It's phenomenal. Christopher Plummer's in it. It's a great movie. But anyhow, Sean Connery in it was the immediate, like one for one in my head. Just the delivery of some of these lines where they're almost jabs. I come from an Irish Catholic family. And one of the things we grew up with was if we're not making fun of you, we don't like you. So in my family, it's very much teasing and sarcasm, and nobody can get a fat head. Everybody's kind of got to keep everybody level. Um, and there's a lot of that with Lorne where he's just kind of needling Darrow and kind of giving him shit. Oh, I would have finished Cassius in 8 moves instead of
Yeah.
9, whatever. You're playing with your food, that kind of thing. The teacher's always teaching. And then the Nero story for me, because he
Yes.
delivers it in such it's a poignant retelling, it's a meaningful retelling, and there's sorrow, regret. He's at times wistful when he's thinking of Iona Bologna and how she looked and how he knew young Nero as a kid, and yet he doesn't shy away from his role in it. He finishes the story with the facts, which is often in real life not how things go. We tend to turn ourselves into the hero.
Yeah.
We tend to make it so that we come out a little bit shinier than we really did in things. And I think that Lorne has, or in that moment, he rises in my estimation, as a character and a person, in that he, he owned, well, I was the Rage Knight, and I then did what I was ordered to do. He's Nazi defense. He was following orders. But he doesn't use it as a defense. He uses it to damn himself. Um, so for me, that was kind of the moment where he goes from being almost a caricature of a wise old, Obi-Wan type who's got
Yeah.
great sayings and shows you the way to the Force. And that kind of switches up on its head when you realize, oh wait, no, this guy, a moment ago he's talking about how wouldn't it be nice if my hands, the last blood that they touched was the birth blood of my grandchild. Um, and
Yeah.
but then the reality of, well, the blood that he has had on his hands has been a lot of innocent blood,
Yeah.
or at least innocent in particular situations. So for me, that was what I came away with. Is, oh, this is a well-rounded character, and as far as the human side goes, it's realistic.
Absolutely. And I'll almost piggyback you on that of I agree with everything you say, but to add on of I like that when we meet him, you're meeting like the myth, the legend, and all this. But at the same time, he's also the wise grandfather that is grounded in like his grandchildren, and you don't see them at the beginning. You just know they're around somewhere, and that idea of just him retiring to be grandpa. Like he just wants to hang out and be grandpa and he doesn't want to go back. I think was a really good touch that it's not someone,
Mm.
as you say, like Obi-Wan Kenobi who's off in the forest just waiting to, die or whatever, but it's this person who's like, no, I can live the rest of my life in a new way with my family was a great touch. Yeah.
And I think you kind of hit it on the head where he's trying to live his first life
Mm-hmm.
over by
Yeah.
being on in a beautiful place with the family that he has left. Um, and yet it's not real.
Yeah.
And I think he's aware of that. It's not ever real because at any moment, all that violence, the bill comes. At any moment, it'll come back. That's the recurring theme of not just these books, but unfortunately history and a lot of life
Yeah.
is violence has a boomerang effect. And the more that you throw it, or the harder you throw it, the more violence you put out, the more likely you're going to get the same thing back. And Lorne, unfortunately, is a victim of his own boomerang. And I think Darrow has seen that play out. And he wants the same thing that Lorne wanted. He talks about it over and over. I just want to be with my family. I just want to be with my wife and my child, and have a life. And I would give everything to be have a garden and a little white picket fence, and do the whole family dad thing. Kid bouncing on the knee, drinking scotch, whatever. But is that possible?
Yeah.
Lorne's Lorne's life would tell you that it is not. So, bleak though that may sound, it's true.
Yeah. Absolutely.
100%.
And that's kind of the sad thing. Well, not kind of, it is the sad thing about the betrayal. Darrow is betraying his friends left and right in Golden
Yeah.
Sun. It's kind of, he gets kind of a pass because he's doing it for the right reasons, or what we perceive to be the right reasons. But it's kind of a bullshit move to
Hmm.
pull a fast one like this.
Yeah.
And I think we'll get to it because I have a very strong opinion about this. And it is wrong. I am well aware that it is wrong. But the thing that people are always talking about with like Roke and Tactus, or at least what we've seen in our little uh, dipping our toe into Reddit and the den Discord and all that, is like, well, Darrow should have given Roke a choice, and Darrow should have given Tactus a choice, and told all these people. Nobody says he should have told Lorn. And
Yeah. That's a
Hmm.
good point.
I know that
Yeah.
we've been told, and it, from the man himself, that Lorn would not have switched sides.
Yeah.
But I mean, that doesn't mean that he doesn't deserve to be old.
Yeah.
The whole point is you got to give people the choice and hope that they pick the right thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know. I feel bad for Lorn.
I do too. And I would
That
like
is
you to
fair.
know that one of my notes that I have is forcing him into war. And then the one is, did Darrow do what was right, or was there another way? And like, I always, it's like, that's a hard one because you want to have the strongest person on your side. And
Oh,
you know that, I mean,
Mhm.
we see that Aja's already there, technically, like wooing him the other way. But it's so hard because it's like, yeah, why did we never let Lorne decide what he was actually going to do? Instead, it's a like, nope, you're coming with us. Like,
which you know, he's this. He's never had any agency.
yeah,
He didn't have it under the sovereign. She just told him what to do and where to do it and who to do it to.
yeah,
And now Darrow's done the same fucking thing.
yeah,
But we like Darrow and we agree with Darrow's fight, so it's accepted. But it's kind of down and dirty. It's kind of down and dirty. I
yeah,
mean, I'm a Darrow stan, as the kids say, but I don't know. It seems kind of dirty to me. Those minor hands are doing some dirty tricks.
yeah. It almost sets a little bit of the tone that we see it a couple times, but this especially of, so you always have a tyrant on the chair, and it's the whole idea of we'll replace Nero as king and all of this, and it's like no matter who's in power, if it's the sovereign, if it's Darrow, if it's Nero, like who is better at the end of the day because they're all making their decisions based on what they think is best. Now we know Darrow is doing it for all people instead of just the gold, so we like to pretend at least that his is best until we eventually see in Iron Gold where we get Lyria's point of view of like fuck this guy, like my life's not better, right? Like, and it's
It's
hard.
the two lines that I think are the two most um, spooky, and I mean that in the true like horror movie, terrifying. If you read or like history at all, they stick with me the most. Are Atlas saying, "The thing I fear most is a man with a good cause because he'll excuse any evil."
Yeah,
Um, and I butchered that, but it's something along those lines. And then the Publius Suc Caravel, where it's all men are created equal, and I will make them so.
yeah,
That's when you boil that down, that is the most fucking crazy thing because it sounds good.
yeah,
It sounds really appealing. Everybody should be equal. But when you're talking about forcing that,
yeah,
that's where you start to end up with, millions of dead.
yeah,
And Darrow is kind of running that fine line of power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. And like you were saying, no matter who sits in, that's why the chair is the problem.
yep,
It's not who sits in it; it's the fucking chair. Um, because whoever, it doesn't matter what their angle is, they're going to do something. And but ultimately, and this is where I start to get a little wonky in that, like, when you're dealing with a population of 18 billion people on
mm-hmm.
multiple planets throughout an entire star system. Yeah, when shit happens at that scale, it's not 30,000 people dying in a flood. It's 3 million, and that's
Yeah,
just a drop in the bucket. So, um, I think sometimes that gets lost. But and it shouldn't. But it's also understandable why. Like people kind of go bananas about. Oh my God, there's so many people like Ganymede. True, that's true.
Yeah.
But also, like that's if you want his side to win, that's strategically the best move that he could make.
Yeah.
You know
It's hard. Yep. War crimes. It's not a
exactly.
war crime the first time, but sometimes you gotta do the war
Well,
crimes.
when your side does it, it's is it, exactly. It's
It's
a problem. It's a
hard.
fucking problem. It's a big
Oh,
thing,
I
and
know. You're talking to Canadians. We're the biggest culprit of the war crimes, and then everyone excuses us because they're like, "But you're so polite," and then you
they're
all
so
became
nice.
We just said
peacekeepers, and it's
sorry
like,
about it.
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
Fun.
it's fine.
Yeah, but hey, if like I was saying, I'm a big history guy. I'll tell you what. If I were in the trenches in World War One, and I could choose anybody to be on my side, I'm picking the fucking Canadians. Holy shit, the Canadians were
Oh yeah.
unbelievable, unbelievable.
How do you like your canned food? Can we just throw that over and then swap it out
Yeah,
maybe? Yeah.
exactly.
Oh yeah. We've talked about our Canadian war crimes a few times, especially the trenches was like our big thing.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a thing. It's a thing.
yeah. Uh, but before we get called out by the FBI for
I
putting
was gonna say we're on a list now. We're on a list.
yeah. Um back to kind of yeah what Darrow does to Lorn. Like, do we think there is another way if he had have come forth and told him from the beginning of, come with us, sell him on it, or would he have just stayed? Or would he have gone with Aja, right? Like it's a hard.
I,
No, no, Crescent. What do you think?
I don't think he's going.
Mhm.
Like he's not like yes, he gets tricked into it, but also Darrow is kind of in the middle of telling him what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, he forces his hand, but he's like, no, you leave right now. Get on my fucking griffin, which insane
It's the
thing to
best.
say. Get on my
Great.
griffin and fuck off. And get out of here and leave me in peace.
I think you need to cut a T-shirt that says "Get on my Griffin and fuck off." That's like a great bumper sticker or something. It's got to be out
Yes.
there.
next Redbubble design.
Perfect.
Yeah. I like it.
Um, I think you're right. I think Aja doesn't give him a choice. I think
Mm-hmm.
we can be pretty well certain that Aja is going to say, "Well, if you don't join us, we're going to nuke you, and your whole family and
Mm.
everybody is dead. So you have to come." I think that the problem isn't that Darrow's asking him to go to war, though that is a big problem because he doesn't want to go to war.
Yeah.
I think the problem is Nero. If Darrow comes to him and says, I am going to I'm going to either die at the hands of the sovereign or overthrow her and put myself in the chair or Virginia or whatever that combination might be. He has a much better shot. But it's a non-starter to say I'm going to put Nero on the throne. And I
Yeah.
think that's the whole purpose of him recounting the grape story is you can't possibly think that this is going to be something I would get behind because I know
Yeah.
who this man is. I think that's the only real way. I mean, he certainly couldn't be like I'm a red. That's
Mm-hmm.
not a great way to begin that, but something along the lines of it's going to be me or I'm going to die. And there's so much of that son father relationship there that I can see maybe a guilt trip, maybe a feeling of he owes it to Darrow to at least see him through this. Um, that might have been the only real way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That
And the
they,
closest thing you have to a son left.
yeah, exactly. And playing that card and leaning into it, and he
Mm-hmm.
tries, but it's still. I think Nero's just such a non-starter for Lorne that he just can't see around that.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's such a good point. I was gonna say earlier, like that speech, as much as it's damning him, that is a warning
Oh
about
yeah,
Nero. Like that is. so clearly, do not fuck with this man. Like that is the equivalent to Mustang's warning about Adrius.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Good point. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and yet somehow Darrow fails to see it, and it just seems
Because he's an
so.
idiot.
Yeah, yeah, yep. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the school systems in the mines are like, but they seem to have
Is
failed
there a
young
school
Darrow.
system
Angry.
in the mines? I know they have to
They're
learn
angry.
math, but other than that, like, is there a school
But
system
just
in the
algebra.
mines? Just
Yeah.
yeah,
No, no, he said he's doing calculus
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. On the what is it on the
on
windshield
the
or
cockpit
something?
wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, while he's digging with the other hand.
yeah. That's funny. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think he wouldn't have gone. I think he's
Yeah.
almost given up on society. He just, as I said, he wants to be grandpa. He wants to just hang out, not with Lysander. He's given up on Lysander, which we'll talk about
Yeah.
later for sure when it comes to his impact. But him and Alex, he's like, let me just raise Alexander over here, and like everyone else, like yeah,
And what's funny about that is, well, we'll hit on it with the Lysander talk because there's
yeah,
something really tragic in that conversation about the idea of the one thing you're good at being the one thing you just don't want to fucking do and don't
yeah,
want to be a part of and don't want to be known for.
yeah,
And there's no way of running away from it.
yeah, absolutely. Uh, well, after kind of meeting Lorn and all of this, we get the death of Tactus as Tactus has threatened the children and everybody else. Do you think Lorn is justified in killing Tactus?
1 million fucking percent.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. We talk about this. We've talked about it a lot because we're covering Golden Sun. So I
Yeah.
promise anybody, the two people that listen to the Sons of Ares podcast, will eventually move past that. I swear to you, we will. But the idea that this praise dog, who we first meet, our first interaction with him, is him being reprimanded for rape or attempting to rape somebody.
Yes.
And I don't believe that that was his first time. It's like when everybody gets caught drunk driving their first time.
Yeah.
We all know that it's not the first time you got behind the wheel. You've done it before. You just got caught for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Tactus got caught and punished for doing a heinous, terrible thing. One of the worst things you can do to another human being. We give him a pass because he all of a sudden becomes kind of a Severo light or Severo weirder, which I don't know if that's possible.
Yep.
And so there's some moments of like, oh, maybe this will be that crazed rabid dog that follows you home and doesn't bite you, but you can kind of sick him on other people, and that's useful. And then we get into Golden Sun, and he not just the thing about the betrayal of Lysander that people seem to forget is that when he jumps out of the back of the stork with Lysander in the bag, he knows that that means everybody on board of that stork is dead.
Yeah.
He has no the act that Darrow and Severo have to do to save them is so insane, so outrageous that it has never been attempted in the 700-year history of the society. Nobody's done that because it's fucking
Yeah.
stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So Cactus has no 0.0% belief that they will survive that. So he's assigned everybody to die. But then he comes back and he's on the side of the person we've just gone over is the most violent and dangerous person in all the society.
Yep.
He's her sidekick. And he's taken a bunch of children at Blade's End as hostage to trade for his life.
Yeah.
So where in any of that is the redemption, the possible like, oh, he's okay though. He's our guy.
Yeah.
It's soft of Darrow to think, well, no, but he could do something good someday. And even if he does that really outweigh the like the potential for him to do something crazy?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it does in my estimation.
I agree with you. We definitely agree.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't heard our
Absolutely.
Tactus episode yet, but we I just kept saying I could never love him. I was like, nobody will ever make me love Tactus. Sorry.
Please enlighten me though. I don't understand the people that are like, oh, that love him
Yeah.
and think that he's some kind of like I just don't understand it. And Lorn putting him down there is maybe it's not justice. It's not the thing that Darrow did to punish him for in Red Rising, but it is right.
Yep.
Uh,
Mhm.
to my mind, I mean, it just seems. What would you? What could you possibly do otherwise?
Yeah. No,
How
I
do you?
agree with you.
How do you, as Darrow, go back to Victra and Virginia and Roke and all these other people and say to them, "No, you have to trust this guy now because I trust him magically now."
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. It just seems bizarro to me. But I'm dumb, so I don't know. It could be. It could be. There's something I'm missing.
Yeah. We'll get somebody to weigh in.
I, I would like to say,
Yes.
through that, I will now think of Tactus forevermore as the face eating leopard.
Yes.
So
I
thank you
mean,
for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
there you
didn't know
go.
he would eat my face. Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy to me. There is definitely Tactus apologists out there.
Mhm.
And I also never understand why Roke is attacked as apologist after being so
It makes no
upset that
fucking
like,
sense.
oh, Aja killed Quinn, but we're mad at Darrow for not going after Aja, but it's okay that Tactus sided. Like, I don't get it. Yeah. And I think you're right. I think in the moment it's a hard pill to swallow of Lauren just killing him, but there's no other way out. And I think Lorn knows that. Like Lorn has seen enough war to be like, get rid of this guy. Like,
Totally, totally. You're hitting the nail on the head that it's like this is Lauren's experience. He's got 80 years of leading soldiers. And he
yeah,
knows when one of them sometimes you meet somebody at, a restaurant or whatever, and you see that they have crazy in their fucking eye. You don't know
yeah,
what it is, but there's some part of your caveman brain or cavewoman brain or cave person brain that's kicking off saying, danger goes there. Beware of dragons. There's something about this person that is unlike other people, and that's weird. And we should
yeah,
be on alert. Cactus is giving that all the time,
yeah,
even to Darrow. Darrow says multiple times, "I don't know if I can trust this one." Something to the effect of he's not somebody I want to bring too close because I can't. So I don't understand the flip. I also don't understand, and I hinted at it earlier. I didn't hint at it. I said it, but we know from Pierce that Tactus would have, if Tactus survives, he would have come along with the Rising, and if Lorne survived, he wouldn't have. He would have killed
yeah,
Darrow on the spot. The only thing that I would contend with that is that of the two of them, Tactus decides to follow Darrow with half of his face melting off and a razor at his or not with basically cornered in a position where he knows in order to survive he has to say whatever is going to get him for the
yeah,
next couple of minutes. Lorne take the removal of his 3 million person all colors off of Europa because to protect them, which materially weakens his military contribution to Darrow's force because that means ships that are needed to fight the war are actually protecting his family off planet. So it's a decision to weaken himself in the fight to protect low colors off planet. Take that off the board. The other thing that is different is Lorne comes to Darrow and says, "You're probably right. I probably shouldn't have killed that kid."
yeah,
Of his own volition, with no
yeah,
blade at his throat, with nothing in the balance, nothing. It costs him nothing, or it doesn't. There's no reason for him to come to that conclusion other than maybe it was wrong,
yeah,
and that's I don't know. That speaks to me of somebody who might be able to look at a situation and be like, "Oh, maybe the society is doing it wrong. Maybe this whole red down the
yeah.
bottom thing is actually not great." I don't know. that just I just like Lorn, damn it, and
Yeah,
I want him to be a good guy.
that's fair. It's absolutely fair. Yeah, it's hard to see. I don't know. You always want your favorite characters to end up good, but he's just so wise that to me it would make sense of, have the bigger picture. But
How could you be so short sighted?
Really,
yeah,
and
but also an old man set in his ways that who knows, right? Like,
Yeah.
totally,
yeah.
and Christian, I don't know if you have off the top of your head with your encyclopedic knowledge, but before we learned that Lorne knows the names of the low colors that work in the household and all that, is there any gold that we meet who takes the time to know? Like, isn't that part of why Darrow's weird? Is that he's like nice to
Hmm.
Theodora,
Yeah.
knows her name and treats her well? I think that
I would I would guess that the only other one would be Kavix.
Okay, yep. Kavix and probably Virginia. I think at some point Darrow says something kind of cross to Theodora and Virginia says be nice to her or something. So yeah, you're right. So there's a couple, but Lorne clearly is a we're splitting hairs to say a good master or a good gold or whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it, but um, he's not the worst. And to what you were saying, Skipper, I think like if anybody could do the rigorous mental gymnastics that it would take for someone to unlearn the behavior and systems that they've been a part of, might be this guy.
Yeah. I mean, we see it in Kavix. Like you just mentioned that's the other person who like is respects the low colors in his house. That even in Golden Sun, there's the funny moment where Dara's going monologuing about something, and Kavix and Daxo were like, "You're not a Democrat, are you?" Right? Like, and so you can see in Golden Sun that they're not fully on board, but obviously by Morning Star, they are, and that's like it is the love of Mustang in that, and that more connection, but clearly they came along as well. That Lorn and Kavix to me have always been those two old grandpas, probably like both going through war, but taking different things out of it. One
Mm,
being absolutely crazy, and the other one this like wise old man, right? Like that. Yeah, if Kavix can do it, Lorn probably could.
for sure. And
Yeah,
what's
absolutely.
interesting that you just hit on is so. And again, I don't know if this is just coincidence or if it's part of the writer's art and making connections, but the instance you're referring to with Kavix, they're talking about Ragnar and how he took control of a boarding party.
Yeah.
And their response is, I wonder if it would be different if he were a yellow or a blue who was just doing something really unique. But he's an obsidian. So they're very much like, hmm, I don't know. This is a
You
little
sure about
wonky.
this?
Yeah, you sure about this? Get on my fucking griffin and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You know, then later we learn Lorne when they're in the back of the hauler and Arrow has that moment with Ragnar and then he talks to Lorne and Lorne is basically like, never forget, these are wild animals with very loose framework of
Yeah.
civilization here. And so I wonder
Hmm.
if that is these two old war dogs just also just so ingrained prejudice against obsidian culture or obsidians flatly that even the good one, also can't really see or has a harder time seeing outside of the societal
Yep.
structure because of the fact that
Hmm.
it's an obsidian that they're dealing with.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point of who it is.
Definitely.
Like it. The only other comment that I have written about Lorne while he's alive is how done with everyone's shit he is. Like, I just like his snide remarks the whole time. Like, when they're fighting over whether or not Victra should stay in the room, he's like, great,
Totally.
you're all getting along, right? Like, he's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, at one
Yeah.
point he says to Dare, I think like, what madhouse have you brought me into or something? Where it's just like It's also that you can very much see it would be like uh I just picture like Robert De Niro in a AI startup company, and all these 22-year-olds are talking about neural networks and putting graphs up on a board, and what the fuck is happening here? I have no idea.
Yeah.
You're right. He's very done with it and not afraid to let everybody know how bent out of shape he is by this whole nonsense.
Yeah.
Which is always fun. I like a character that's just like, fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like
he's got no fucks left to give.
Yeah,
well, that's
exactly.
it. And what's someone gonna say to him? You're gonna fight Lorn over this
Yeah,
like snide
Yeah.
remark that he made? Like, you need the
totally.
guy. Yeah.
Totally. And one of the most badass, I think, scenes in the whole series is Lorne when they drop in on Pliny's little table there,
Yes.
and he's like,
Or council,
"Oh,
whatever.
that was close." I think he's like, anybody steps within 3 meters of Darrow, and I kill everybody in this room, and some gold like farts or something. And he's like, "Oh, that was close. That was close."
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
because
that's
doesn't
great.
someone else like pull him back? Like someone goes,
Yes,
"Dude,
yes,
that's like,
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think he says like 2.3. That was close.
2.3 meters. That
Yeah,
was close.
yeah, yeah. I like it. Yeah, he's just a fun character for the time that we have him.
totally.
Um, While I do have the stats that while alive in Golden Sun, he gets mentioned 145 times. And then 5 after his death, which we'll get into in a second. But his death is so close to the end of that book that the fact that it was even 5 is
Yeah,
shocking.
that is
But
crazy.
145 during his while he's alive is also crazy that is one of the highest we have had of this series so far. um I mean, doubles
Yeah,
Quinn.
it's like right up there with death.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, we do have
What's the number of times death is mentioned?
in the whole series 612.
Ooh, who is coming together with these numbers?
Crescent. I
I
send
thought
him,
so.
can you look this up? And he, yeah.
I
Kill
have ebook
is,
copies.
yeah, so he just control F's.
Yeah.
Oh, well, see, that's why you're
Magic
clever.
behind the, yeah.
Yeah.
Kill
Peek behind
over
the
the
curtain,
whole
please.
series is 1,640 is the word kill. Dead is 828. That's over the whole series though. So
Jesus, that's
yeah.
crazy.
I think that was the first thing I made him look up. I was like, I need you to look up these words.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, we could look up character names as well. We could
I love that.
advance
How
with
many
this.
times is he mentioned in the other books? Do you have that in front of you?
I do.
Yep.
Morning Star is 42. And again, this is just the word Lord. So this is not when they call them Stoneside or
Arcos, yeah.
Arcos or anything else. 42 in Morning Star, 29 in Iron Gold, 16 in Dark Age. 5 of those is in the prologue. 5 times in the prologue of Dark Age, which seems reflective.
Yeah, yeah, big time.
He's reflecting on Alexander and Lorne and how
Okay, yep,
similar they are
yep.
Yeah.
and
And
how
then,
different.
yeah, and 29 in Lightbringer. So stays very consistent.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that he has more Lightbringer deaths than EO. I'm trying to see. I don't have the EO breakdown in front of me. It's in our chat. Or you
I'll
can
just
do a quick,
relook it
yeah.
up.
I wouldn't be surprised though. Io, as much as she
Just
is,
kind of fallen off.
she does kind of fade into the background a little bit, and to be honest, rightfully so, in the sense that I think Darrow, not just emotionally, his life and his heart is filled now with a new life,
Mm-hmm.
but also, I mean, just think about the time and distance. He's 16 the
Yeah.
last time he sees her. He's now double that amount of lifespan into Dark Age. I don't remember how old he is in Lightbringer. Is he 35, somewhere in there?
At 33, 34.
So, so double. He's lived as long as he did when he knew her,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and in that time, he's also traveled and seen. Like his life is just full of other stuff.
Yeah.
It would be weird if he was talking about her on every other page.
Yeah. Well, and
30,
to
by the way.
compare it to Lorn, he would be the only one who would really use her name. In comparison to Lorn is going to be
True.
reflected
That's a good
by
point.
other characters talking to
Yeah.
Darrow, but when we get the points of view, like I'm sure Lysander says his name at some point. Well,
Yep.
does Lysander ever call
Yep.
him Grandpa? Grandpa Arcos. He's
Grandpappy.
probably yeah.
Jeepa.
Yeah. But Mustang, when we get her POV, would probably at
Yep.
some point mention Lorn, right? Like all of them have reasons that they
Which
would rather than
again,
EO. No one's gonna
Mhm.
like they might call her Persephone, but you
mhm.
don't most people don't actually know EO's name outside of, right?
Yeah, I would
Mhm.
think only Virginia, would really have any,
Yeah.
maybe in those moments when she's kind of questioning
Yeah.
herself opposed to EO, but even then, I'm not sure. I feel like she calls her Persephone or refers
Yeah.
Yeah.
more to that.
My husband's
Um,
first wife.
It would be,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, it would
exactly.
be probably Deanna, Kieran,
Oh yeah.
Dancer,
Yep, yep,
Neryl,
yep, yep.
Which would all be in conversation too.
and Dio, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Also, yeah,
before we get
30
into
in Lightbringer for
30 in
EO.
Lightbringer. So 29 versus 30. Interesting.
Okay, very
There you
interesting.
go. We'll get further into impact, but can we talk about Lauren's death and
Mm.
how we're all still traumatized?
Yeah,
How
Crescent.
was the
Well,
end of Golden Sun for you?
Crescent, you go first because yeah, there's a lot.
uh, I got to the end of Golden Sun very late at night, and I was in shambles. And then I decided I had to continue my terrible life choice of continuing to read late into the night by picking Morningstar up to make sure that the things that I was dreading didn't actually happen. Yeah, not a great time. I was honestly like when it first started, I was like, "Ooh, we're about to get an Arcos like savior montage."
Yep. No.
Yep.
Psych.
Skipper, what was your feeling there?
Oh, as you say, absolutely blindsided. Probably through the book. I didn't have Morningstar to pick up because Golden Sun had just come out, so I waited a year. But I remember being shocked that Arcos is just by Lilith, right? Just struck down, and it is this like moment of like, oh, turns out he can be killed, which is crazy. I actually had a friend who finished Golden Sun last night and was texting me um, it was fun having the read through because then she wasn't telling me where she was though. Like at one point she just put Fitchner in all caps lock, and I had to be like, did you just find out he's Aries? Did you like you're just what's happening? Is he dead? What's happening? Um, but yeah, so she sent me last night of all it said was what the fuck, and I was like, I don't. So I just like emojied her, and then this morning she went, so it begins, and put Morning Star, and I was like, okay, so you finished last night. That's what that was. Like, you need to give me chapters or something here, because she just put, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, I don't know.
It's
There's
it's.
several points in that book.
I was just gonna say I've got my brother reading, and he's through Dark Age, or he's on Dark Age, but the same thing. I would just get like late night texts of fuck. What the fuck, Darrow? Why is
Yeah.
Darrow being so fucking stupid? Oh my god, no, Cassius. And I'd have to interpret like hieroglyphics in the morning. I'd be
Yeah.
blurry eyed, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Where are you? Because I don't want to spoil anything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Golden Age moment for me, and something that this is we've talked about it on our show a few times, where I am I'm embracing my emotional man as I get older. Okay to have emotions.
Yep.
Um, for a long time, I did not think that was the case. Not for any particular reason. I just didn't think whatever. I didn't think about it, to be honest. And I remember distinctly when I was a kid, I read a book called The Winter King by Bernard Cornwell. And in there, there's a couple of deaths that had me bawling like a baby. And that was really the last time I read a book called Hansel and Gretel. It was really, really powerful little like 200-page book. But in the last like 20 years, I haven't really had any book experiences that brought me to like actual blubbering tears. And when Nero yells Arcos to arms, I was
Yeah.
like you, Crescent, where I was like, oh, hell yes. We're going to see the man in action. This is going to be a bloodbath, Rage Night forever. And then I believe like a paragraph and a half later, his four fingers hit the ground. And then Lilith is sawing into his neck, laying his trachea wide open to the open air. And
At least
then
trying.
or at least trying, and he's
Yeah,
still fighting with
Yeah.
one
with
hand
no hand.
immobilized.
Yeah,
And I imagine the Lagavulin in the other hand not drop, not a
Yeah.
single drop coming out of the glass. Um, and then the biggest piece of shit ever walk the society grounds, and I mean that in the entire series. I hate Jackal. Walks up, and not only does he put a blade into his side,
Yeah.
he has to have a little fucking comment, like the
Yeah.
little dick drip piece of shit that he is. I hate that scene. I was a mess. And then the thing that killed me about it is you get Darrow's perspective of that scene unfolding, which is just like masterfully done, where you're just so everything, it's like a movie, everything's happening. It's kind of got he does this thing in the earlier book, Red Rising, and at certain times in Golden Sun where it's like staccato, and it puts you in Darrow's shoes. And he doesn't necessarily do it here, but the action that is unfolding kind of has that like flip book feel to it, where
Yeah.
each page is hitting in each sentence, and you're like, oh, it's layering and layering. And I got to the end of it, and I was bereft. And like you were saying, it was, I think, 2 o'clock in the morning. I finished that. I immediately crack open Morning Star, and I have work the next morning, but I'm doing the thing where I'm looking at the clock every couple of pages, and I'm like, I can do another 5 minutes. I can do another 10 minutes.
mhm.
And weirdly, I think that robbed me somewhat
Mm.
of the actual impact. I didn't sit with it for any amount of time.
Yeah.
Like Skipper, you actually had to sit in that and bathe in that and marinate in that loss and sorrow for a period of time. And on the one hand, I'm like, thank God I didn't. But on the other hand, I now I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe that, or at least it would have meant more when you find out what happens in Morningstar.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it was a tough read. It's bad when you have a hard time like turning the page because you're snot and eyes are just dripping all over the page. The actual Red Doves pages
Oh
are
yeah.
splotched with
Mm.
tears that I'm sitting at the kitchen
Yeah.
counter reading it, and there's like giant teardrops hitting it like rain. And I still, every time I reread it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. That was a
Oh.
tough night right there.
Yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
yeah, the triumph is in so many ways on the rereads. I've been like, oh, I can't believe you didn't see this coming.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I don't know. Have you guys had that where on a reread you're like, oh, the pieces are all there. It
Absolutely.
was not
Oh
a
yes.
puzzle.
This reread, even though I'm reading it, being like, right, I got to be paying attention to the deaths, which is hard because there's so many characters. But this one, especially, it was Lorn and Roke are the two that I'm like hyper focused on, just because I know that their deaths are kind of not talked about as much as
Mm.
the Ragnars, the my brain just froze as if nobody else in this book's died. But like there's the Cassiuses. And so I'm like,
Alexander's gets talked about like an
Alexander, yeah,
insane
Mhm.
amount of time, and he's one of those ones where like again, I think Alexander's a
yeah,
great character, but the amount of energy and emotional attachment that is in Alexander, I'm not I'm not I don't find it like
yeah,
offensive. I'm just somewhat confused by it. I think
yeah.
it's great. I think it's a powerful scene, but I'm very much more like you were just saying. Roke's death is
It's
weighted and
yeah,
um uh, and poetic and kind of beautiful and truthful to the character and um I think that is interesting about Alexander.
yeah, absolutely. Um, but yeah, so it's this time reading through, I'm seeing so many more of the puzzle pieces because I'm so hyper
Mm.
focused, especially on Roke, right? So when he's being kind of weird and like, well, where's Mustang? And they're all so hyper like not even Darrow. Like Darrow's like, yeah, we had lovers quarrel. Oh God, like whatever, she's gone. But everyone else is like, but where is she? But where is she? But where is she? And you're like, who care? Like, why do the rest of you care? And like, there's just certain things of like where Sever try. Where's Fitchner? Where's like there is definitely
Mhm.
setup, as you say, that I noticed. I don't know, a lot more this time than I remember because I was reading it for the purpose of the death, which is a
Yeah,
hard thing to do. That you're like, oh yeah,
but it I think it speaks to the kind of propulsive nature of the writing in that once you're in and you're first in it, it just has an engine.
yeah,
Everything that's happening, all these little details that you definitely pick up on. It's like being on a train, right? And you can see a farm out in the distance, but if you actually stop to look at it, it's just a blur going by.
yeah,
And so it's kind of the same thing where you're just kind of so the momentum is so intense that I fucking blew right by all the little hints. And then, like you're saying on the reread, I'm like, it is weird that literally every character that interacts with Darrow is like, where's Mustang?
right.
Oh, what's wrong with Mustang? Did you guys fight?
Where's Fitchner?
Literally,
Yeah,
Roke, the Jackal, Lorn, Nero. I think Victra makes like
yeah,
every single one of them
Mhm.
says something about Mustang. And at the point, at the first time I read it, I was like, I don't fucking care. Just get to the triumph. Just give him the
yeah,
crown. Let's see this. And thankfully she wasn't there. Uh,
Mhm.
that would have been even more. I would have probably not finished the series if
yeah,
Mustang was there and had died.
yeah. No,
No, I think
Darrow
if
gets no
if
love.
Mustang is there, the Telemanuses are there,
Oh, that's true.
Oh
and
shit! Great point.
Aja is like, they're coming. We should leave.
Oh, that's a good
There's a
point.
could have been a different experience, but we'll
Mm.
never know.
Is Aja afraid of the Telemanuses?
I doubt she's afraid of them, but I would say she is
She
cautious.
knows the power. Yeah.
Hmm.
Here's the thing is because if Aja can have the mind's eye and kind of read who you are, and you're against someone who believes in magic and is just off his hinges, you can't
Just
predict
bad shit.
Kavix.
Yeah.
You can't predict anything he's gonna do. That she's probably like, I
Because he
don't want to
doesn't know
fight
what
him.
the fuck he's gonna do.
Yep.
No,
You're so right.
Exactly.
I never thought of that. You're so right.
he's just
That's
he's vibing. He's accidentally have the mind eye because he's just vibing. He's like, this feels right. I don't know why. It just feels right.
Hmm. The elves told him to do it.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man, that's a great point. I never really put together that she's very concerned about them showing up. I just was like, oh, it just read to me as though we got to get out of here, not a like the specific people that could show up are of considerable, power. And then I never really thought of like, why would that be? Well, Kavix would be a very difficult person to fight if you're trying to read his mind.
Yeah.
Huh. You guys have opened up my brain.
I
This is
just
cool.
I just
We've
spew
given you the
words and
mind's
see
eye.
what happens. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I feel like I'm seeing the world anew, which
Yeah.
is always fun.
Yeah. I just love Kavix so much that
Oh,
I'm just gonna give him so much credit and be like, he's the best.
He's almost like Lorn levels for me. You know, as Lorn is my guy, my ride or die. Kavix is 1 in 1A, that kind of level.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
particular, I'm following in Preston's footsteps here because I have had the audio series playing pretty much nonstop for like a year now.
Nice.
And I just listened to the Oculus chapter where he takes that moment with Virginia and has this wonderful little bit about why she should get, or she deserves, unfortunately, the day she gets. But like, it's just so good, and he's such a great, lovely
Yeah.
being. And I love a person that believes in magic. You
Yeah.
know, I think that if you think about, I mean, magic's fucking cool. It's as believable as anything else. Like, I don't know, like, fuck
Yeah.
it.
If you
Why
don't
not have a,
understand science, it's basically magic.
yeah,
That's how
like
I
the
roll.
what was it,
Yeah.
insane
There's
clown posse? You know, the magnets. They're
magnets.
basically
How do they
magic.
work?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, and
exactly.
yeah, there's I don't know who the quote is from, but any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't explain it, there's I think it's Charles C. Mann had recently had a series of articles about how um, basically all of our systems of supply and energy and all of these major, huge, vastly important structures and systems that keep the modern world going are essentially going to be magic because everybody that put them together has died and we don't really understand how.
Mm.
It was all kind of band-aids and fix-its and like I would assume that you probably see a lot of this in the HVAC or refrigeration world where there's kind of some weird old guy who'd been working on refrigerators for 40 years figured out a way to make something work. I couldn't really explain it to anybody. So when you got to fix it, you're like, I don't know how the fuck he did this, let alone why. So I can't possibly fix it. So you just need to get a new unit. um, and that is where things get to the level of like magic. If you can't easily explain how something works, what's the difference between that and a fucking wizard? Um,
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I apologize to the Fade fans out there who are not used to me because I rant. Chuck,
Oh, we
my
love it.
co-host, gives me a
Oh,
lot of
we love a
trouble
ranter.
ranting all the time.
We love a rant. Tangents are welcome here. I love it.
Even ranchins.
Ranchins. Oh, that's a
Ranches.
good one. I'm gonna have
All
to
right.
bring that into the Sons of Ares world.
Yep. I like it. Well, we'll get a little bit back on. Let's talk about the Lorn impact throughout the rest of the series. We mentioned the numbers. He's pretty consistent being mentioned between Morningstar all the way to Lightbringer. Uh, I have a couple notes, but what do you guys think his biggest impact on the rest of the series is?
Question.
That's tough. Um, I think he managed to instill a very strong sense of regret in Darrow.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Okay.
I think that's the exact right word too. Um, Regret and cost. I think Arrow got to see what it cost him firsthand, unfortunately, up close and personal. And I always see that upon rereading that death scene is particularly um, it's really bad. It's hard when you read it from Darrow's perspective. When you read it from Lorne's perspective, it takes on a totally heartbreaking aspect because he doesn't know why this is happening. He doesn't know what's happening. He knows chaos and war and violence because that's his trade, but there's nothing to explain why he's now being killed. And at the same time, he's also, you can assume that he is assuming that this is another son that is dying, and this time in front of him,
Yeah.
and there's nothing he can do to save that kid. Um, and that's the cost, and that's what Darrow's afraid of, is that he's going to be Lorn someday and watching his son die, and
Yeah.
there won't be anything he can do about it. Um, and and I think the Darrow regret and the inability to fight his violent nature, be the tool, be the sword, and that kind of interplay that he has often of, well, am I just this god of war, or am I something more? Am I a builder, or am I a breaker? Um, is constantly at play. I think that what we're gonna find in Red God, maybe, and what we saw a lot of in Lightbringer, and throughout the second trilogy, is that the impact of Lorn is the myth, and it's Lysander believing that there was a
Yeah.
version of the society that worked, and that all that was needed is a couple of tweaks. He's the man to make the tweaks.
Yeah.
But there was a time, because there was this Halcyon period where Lorn, the Rage Knight, was zooming about and keeping the compact intact and perfect, and somehow we got away from that. If we could just go back, and this is a very human thing. You read about the ancient Romans, and you had Cicero and Cato talking about how the Romans of their period were not really good Romans. We should go back to a more
Yeah.
conservative, a more traditional version of Rome that was better. And that's 200 years before them. They had no way of knowing if that Rome ever actually existed, if it was
Right.
real. It's just this version. We see it a lot today of, let's go back to this better version of ourselves. And we forget that humans don't change that much. I mean, fart
Right.
and dick jokes were just as funny in the Middle Ages and to the Egyptians as they are now.
Yeah.
There's a reason that America's Funniest Home Videos was basically just people falling downstairs and getting hit in the balls, and people loved it. And, it was the number one show for 10 years or whatever. People don't change. And I think Lysander is that, he's that mirror on humanity of, well, let's just try and make it back to when the compact mattered. And what he didn't get, because he wasn't privy to Lorn himself, was Lorne's conversation with Darrow on Europa, where at the end of that conversation he says that the society isn't sick, it's dead.
Yeah.
Uh, he no longer was under the delusion that the society and the compact was a good thing. He knew that it was bad. He knew that it was a raw deal,
Yeah.
and that it was a tenuous thing being held up by violence and power and subjugation, and that eventually that was going to go away.
Yep.
Which again is one more reason why I think he probably could have figured out that Arrow and the Reds was. I don't know. I'm not going back. I'm not trying to bring us back, but
No, you
he
can't.
said he
Yeah.
says
Well,
it. He says the
he says
society
it,
is not sick; it's dead.
and I look at, like, to piggyback on of the difference between Alexander and Lysander is Alexander was raised by Lorn versus Lysander was removed. And so as much as, he was young and impressionable and Darrow is there then as his like uncle, um, he has Lorne's teaching as the base, which is where Alexander full into it with Darrow of like, yeah, okay, I'll back you. In fact, I may even fall in love with Red over here, and we're not gonna think twice about it. We're just gonna, bully each other because we're teenagers, not because
Mhm.
one is superior to the other. Like, and so I think you're right. Of there is definitely those little stepping stones of Lorne sticking around that we then see in why Alex sticks around. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think um, in Lightbringer, Cassius says something to Darrow about how the student reflects the teacher, but also the teacher uh, reflects the student, or somehow that is not a one way street. That it goes
Yeah.
both ways, and and that is the case between Lorn and Darrow, and then Darrow and Alexander. Like you don't have Alexander throwing himself at Tyche for
Yeah.
no other reason than it's the right thing to do as a human being.
Yep.
If he didn't learn at the feet of Darrow, who learned at the feet of Lorn.
Yep.
And that's just being a good person. It's not about being a color or being a warrior or whatever. Yes, being a warrior allows you to do that and save those people. It allows you to more likely save more lives. Maybe if he was a plumber or a fucking UPS driver, he might not last long enough fighting to save those lives, but he might still go down and try and throw his body in the fray.
Yep.
But it's that poaching tree. It's that downriver knock on effect of Alexander doesn't do that. If Lorn wasn't a good enough human being at his core, imbue both him and Darrow with
Yeah.
this sense of honor and dignity and decency that kind of a decision requires to make. That's not the decision of a moment. That's not your just factor. You're connecting data points in that moment and saying, well, if I do this and do that and do this, it will then allow this outcome. That's the decision of a lifetime.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
hours and moments and days elected in one moment where you make a choice because of how you've lived your life and the way that you've been raised and the way you exist in the world in relation to others. So I think it's the good side of Lorne's legacy, and hopefully it ends up being the. But to what you're saying, Skipper, is Lysander never had that. Not only did he never have Lorne there to tell him that this society is not only sick, it's dead. He never had him to tell him what it means to be a good person or an actual warrior, which is somebody who protects the weak,
Yeah.
and services people with dignity and honor. That's and that life is about service. How can you serve people? He didn't get that, and so he got the bad part of the legacy, and none of the good,
Yeah.
or at least that we know of.
Yeah, I think I would say that Lorne was able to instill a sense of integrity, and Octavia didn't.
Yes.
I would in fact I agree 100%. I would in fact go further and say that she did whatever the opposite of integrity is.
Hmm. Yeah,
She instilled him with
outegrity.
outegrity. He's full of outegrity because as we've seen over and over, he's got nothing.
Yeah.
There is no and I feel bad for Lysander. He's a victim to a large extent in that there is no core to this apple because it's been
Yeah.
removed. You know, if you have your memory wiped,
Yes.
it puts me in mind of the Duke of Hands. Like, whatever happened to the Duke of Hands? Do we know? I'm pretty sure they wanted to make him like a sleeper cell or something. So
Yeah,
they
Theodora was going
planted,
to turn him into a splinter.
yeah. So he's full of implanted memories and thoughts and whatever.
Yeah.
So he's nothing. He's not a person. Lysander is. I mean, we maybe don't know, but to a certain degree, he's also full of falsely implanted thoughts and memories and understandings of the world. I don't care if you're on a fucking joyride for 10 years with a cool guy who's drunk all the time, gives you a lot of money for candy. Uh, it's going to be hard to break yourself of that kind of mental training or mental like rigorous abuse, I guess. And so yeah, it's outegrity, and that leaves him vacuous and vacant and soulless, and that's something that Lorne had in abundance, and Alexander has, and Darrow has. Soul, soul. You have to have soul feel pain. And he feels pain, feel regret. You have to have soul. You have to know that you've done something wrong. Um, I think Lysander might be a little bit of a sociopath.
Absolutely. I always like that Alexander Lysander final scene of like Lysander just shoot down his own cousin. Doesn't really even
Hmm.
think about it. It's just like, oh, that
Is
happened.
he his cousin?
Because yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I know
Person.
he's technically his cousin.
Oh, but
He
like
doesn't fucking
feeling
know him.
wise,
He
yeah,
does.
that's
I
true.
Yeah.
mean, they maybe hung out when they were like 8 once,
Yeah.
and now they're 22. I don't know. And Lysander's lizard. So
Yeah.
the blood connection doesn't mean anything. It's what can you do for me right
Yeah.
now? And you know, yeah, I think you're right. It's a horrific like bit of milieu side or however you say it, but I don't know if you think of it from Lysander's point of view, like he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
It's just an obstacle.
And am I right in I haven't read Dark Age since before Lightbringer came out. Am I right in thinking that Alexander does not know it is Lysander, right? Lysander's pretending
Correct.
to be somebody else at the time.
Until the very, very last minute when Daryl cracks in over the comm and
Mm,
lets him know. But yeah, you're right.
yeah.
100%. He thinks
Yeah.
He's just a
s-
fun friend that they found.
yeah. What
Okay.
was it? Crescent? What was his name?
Cato Alvitruvius.
Vitruvius. I was thinking Bodum, but I knew that couldn't be it.
Yeah.
God damn. You
Yeah.
guys ever do like is this Crescent, is this like your specific area of trivia knowledge, or do you have like a bunch of different little things that you know a shit ton about each of them?
Uh, I have a wide knowledge base that's shallow. This is where it's like
This is the depth.
big.
I
The
got you.
real trivia aficionado in this pairing is Skipper.
Oh, for
Oh,
not Red Rising, but trivia
okay. Yeah.
overall.
Just
I got you.
yeah,
Got you.
general
I
trivia. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm stupid with my trivia. My work is slowly learning. Like we tell jokes during every morning. We have a 15-minute meeting, and there's always a joke of the day, and I destroy their jokes half the time because I'm like, well, that's not factually accurate. On St. Patrick's Day, it was something about a leprechaun being an elf, and I was like, no, they're fairies. And I just
It's like,
like the words just come out of my mouth, and then I just realized the whole room's looking at me, and I'm like, oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah,
I
I
did
host
it
trivia. I
again.
do trivia.
Yeah.
But Crescent also loves the TV show Community. Would be the other thing I would
Oh,
say he
that is
has
also
deep,
true. That Brooklyn Nine
deep
Okay.
Nine.
knowledge of.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah. Oh, um, yeah. I love trivia. But yeah, it's interesting with the not knowing that it's Lysander at the end, and that
Mm.
alone of Lysander not even having the guts to tell
Mm.
um his I don't know his own cousin, but as you say, like he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't see himself really as an Arcos, except for that he can use Lorn's name of like, oh well, I'm an Arcos, but he sees
Mm.
Luna's higher than that, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sees Luna's
Absolutely.
higher than everything.
yeah.
And I think you guys ever watch 30 Rock?
Oh, way back in the day, yeah.
I have not.
There's a great scene where from each character's point of view you see all the people. And so one of the characters, he sees the world and everybody's like a muppet. Another character sees the world and they've got, money signs over their head. And he's like valuing each person, what they're actually worth. And Lysander just sees value. People are tools. What is the value that they can bring to him in the moment that he needs
Yeah.
them? And Arcos, the name has value, like you just said, but not as much as Loon. And Alexander, in particularly, has no value.
Yeah.
And regardless of affiliation or blood or connection, doesn't fucking matter. And that's why I think it'll be interesting to see where Lysander stands with his little sidekick there. What's his name? Um, the guy that was crying when the other gold that's his buddy.
Oh,
Is it Kato?
no.
No, it's
Have we stumped Crescent? Oh my god.
oh no,
It
he knows
happens
it.
every so often.
It's
I know it. I just can't think of it.
Yeah.
Cicero.
Cicero.
Yes,
Oh,
Cicero.
yeah.
So like Cicero brings value, but when will that value run out?
Yeah.
What will happen there? And that's and again, it's all part and parcel with the idea of Lorn and the legacy of Lorn. Is I don't think that's how Lorn viewed people.
Yeah.
If he did, then he wouldn't have bothered to know any of his servants' names.
Yep. Yep. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Can I be annoying?
Yeah.
Cool.
Always.
There's a poem by Rudyard Kipling called "If," and I read it years ago when I was a kid, but then when I was prepping for this, I thought about it and I was like, oh, this is the most like Lorn. If Lorn could speak to Darrow, if we could get that moment, this is it. And I'm going to read it to you. It's going to be annoying. I'm just
Okay.
going to play along.
Yeah.
All right. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give away to hating, and yet don't look too good nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to, broken and stoop, and build 'em up with worn out tools. If you can make one heap of all your winnings, risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose, start again at your beginnings, never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. I think Lorne would definitely have given that poem or read that poem to Darrow at some point.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Right? It just fits. It
It
fucking
does.
fits.
Hmm.
Yep. I would love to know if
Particular.
Pierce has
Add
read
it
it.
to your list.
Yep.
Add it to your
Put
list.
it right next to it.
Put it on the
Because
list.
Just
Yeah.
just put if Kipling question mark.
If Kipling?
That's it. If Kipling, why Kipling shaped?
Yeah.
the fact that the triumph is in there,
Yeah.
actual word of the chapter name, and the fact that he's talking about if everything goes to disaster, you just pick up and move on. I don't know. I think it works.
It's perfect.
I agree.
No,
Yeah.
that's great. When did you connect that? Like, did you first read about Lorne and then think of that poem, or read that poem and then go, oh, like, when did that connection happen for you?
When I think about Lorne, I think about a lot of things that I've read, and because there's a lot of like, and it's mentioned, but like a lot of the speeches that he's written for Virginia have
Yeah.
Churchill and Lincoln and all sorts of references, and I think that I don't know, something about it made it click in the back of my head, and I was like, I haven't read that in so long. I reread it and was like, oh, holy shit, this is like spot on. There's a
Yeah.
lot in there that could work, and it just feels very Lorne-esque. Some of it,
Yeah.
The particularly the if you can fill the unforgiving minute, that's the Lorn kind of coded phrase, or
Yeah.
at least in my opinion.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
amazing.
Now, what I'm really hoping is that you're not going to pull a Lysander, and now that you've read us poetry, you're going to kill us.
Oh shit! Oh my god! I totally forgot that that was a thing. Didn't he give him like a choice to pick his poem?
Yeah, that's his thing. Who's your favorite poet?
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
he will recite a poem of theirs
what a
that
piece of
fits.
shit!
Yep.
I'm sorry. I don't. What an absolute asshole. Can you imagine the last thing you hear on this planet is some fucking asshole reciting a poem to you? Ah,
Well, it's
I
not even that it's
mean,
butchering, like, right? Like, I mean, he's gonna do it well, but you don't want your killer to be the one that's,
no,
giving you,
Hmm.
no,
uh,
that's psychotic. That's like something Dexter would do. Like
yeah.
that's a insane sociopath move.
But Lysander probably thinks he's like
Oh,
calmly,
for
right? He's
sure,
like, this is
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
mercy to
he's
do this to
lulling
you.
the
Yeah,
cattle to
Yeah.
its death.
he's honoring them with his
Yeah.
recitation of one of the great poet laureates, and it's the last thing I want to hear before I fucking mold over into the great beyond is somebody being like, and miles to go before I slumber, or whatever the fuck. I actually hate poetry. I don't hate it. I just feel very strongly about poetry, except for when it works for what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I want to know the person that he goes to kill, and then they're like, Dr. Seuss,
Oh, that'd be
please
good.
recite me Dr. Seuss before I
Uh,
die.
do you have any, Lysander, do you have any Shel Silverstein in
Yeah,
that
can
brain?
you? I'm just
Yeah.
wondering where the sidewalk ends, please. Specifically, Yeah, that'd be so funny.
Knowing the Golds, they're all fucking annoying and would probably be
That's
like,
it.
can you do Tennyson? Do you have any
Yeah,
Tennyson in there? It'd be a lot of that.
yeah. You got some frost. Yeah, yeah. I love it. Well, that's a kind of perfect ending for it. We'll sit here and reflect on Lorn. Thank you so
Hmm.
much for joining us this
Yeah, it's
episode.
been
This has been
absolutely fantastic.
Thank you
yeah,
guys. This is a ton of fun. Again, I'm a huge fan. I've been listening to it for a long time. So it's been fun to actually get to chat with you both. And, if you guys ever have a chapter of the show that you want to come on, please. We're going to be on Morningstar in a couple months. So if you have a Morningstar chapter you really particularly like to talk about, let us know. And we appreciate the support, and I particularly appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
yeah. Thank you. Why don't you
Yeah, you're so
pitch? Where
welcome.
can people find you?
Oh, you mean do the podcaster
Do
thing
the
and like talk
podcast
about?
pitch.
You're terrible at it too.
Yeah,
It's fine.
I know.
yeah. We are anywhere you find podcasts. We do kind of do YouTube. If I remember to go to YouTube and post the video.
That's
But
fair.
we're at Sons of Aries Pod on Instagram and TikTok, kind of. And if you have an idea for us to, anything you want to talk about or anything like that, you can send an email to the Sons of Aries podcast at gmail.com. I don't know why I fucked up and did the Sons of Aries podcast, and then the other handles I just did Sons of Aries pod. But yeah, that's where you can find us. And we have a couple of cool things coming up, so check it out.
Nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. You always did a great job. As I said, I love how thorough you are being. So I hope everybody.
It's a very diplomatic and polite way of saying pedantic.
No, I enjoy it. I genuinely do. I
Well,
wouldn't have
thank you
agreed to come
guys.
on if I didn't. So there you go.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Well, thank you everybody for listening and watching. And we'll see you next week with Nero. We get to
Yep.
finally It'll be episode 3
Send
of the
him off.
same death scene as we had to do Kitchener to Lorn to Nero. I don't know why we're ending on Nero. That seemed like a bad idea on my part, but that's
We're
what we're
ending on the
doing next
chaff.
week.
Hey, that's the way it goes. You
Yeah.
know, you guys are doing the Lord's work. You know, you're earning your
Yeah.
paycheck, plumbing that chapter for all it's worth.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be a shorter
Absolutely.
episode than this one. I don't know how much of an impact Nero
Yeah.
really made.
Well, there's a lot of
Father
Virginia.
did.
I mean,
Yes, I was going to say
she's
father
pretty
no good.
twisted like a pretzel on that one.
Yep, that's true. All
Who's
right.
on? Do you guys have somebody picked out?
Black Hole, who happens to be Scott of Book and Box Co.
Oh, cool. Whoa.
Yeah.
And we said we love his shit. I mean, his
Yeah.
stuff. We love all of his stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, thank
All
you,
right.
everybody. And have a good night.
Thank you, guys.